let's go ahead and get started with pork, shall we? Because pork, this is the one that when I ended up having my video where I'm talking about how you end up making tamales, use pork, right? And they're like, you didn't even rinse off the pork. Before I get into that, okay, let's talk a little bit about what we got here. Because when you go shopping for pork or chicken or whatever, you're going to end up seeing an expiration date, okay, essentially. It's going to end up saying processed on, or it's packaged on, and then it's going to end up saying sell by whatever, okay? And this one it says July 17th, which is tomorrow, okay? Now that's a sell by date. That is not an expiration date, okay? By law, there is no federal law that says when you end up packaging meat, you have to put an expiration date. There is none, okay? That is not an expiration date. That's used for the retailers. There's no way of being able to predict when meat is going to go bad, okay? And even though it might end up saying, let's just say for the sake of argument, the 23rd, if this isn't stored at the proper temperature, that basically means nothing anyway. Also, if you take this and you freeze it, if you wrap it up and you freeze it, it's pretty much an indefinite thing. It's gonna last pretty much forever, okay? So that date really doesn't mean anything. What that has to do with is the tear weight. In other words, the weight of the meat. If you look at the bottom of this inside here, do you see that little pad that's on the bottom? You're going to see that in a lot of different meats. And what that does is that absorbs moisture, okay? Because after you start cutting up pieces of meat, you end up opening up cells. When you open up the cells, it leaks, okay? There's blood in this. There's all types of fluids and water that's going to want to leak out. So they put that inside there, and it absorbs those. Kind of keeps it fresher a little bit longer, and it makes it where it's not sitting in this nasty, this nasty liquid. When this first gets packaged, it has a given weight because it has certain types of fluids in it. It's got water, it's got all sorts of stuff, okay? But as time goes by, those leak. And when those leak out, it no longer weighs the same amount, okay? And then you go by the weight of this when you end up putting the price. So really what they're doing is when it says it was packaged on this day, sell by this day. If it's not sold by that day, you know what they're gonna end up doing? They're either gonna reduce the price of it, or what they're going to do is they're going to take this out and then they're going to do something with it to try to end up selling it. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later on down the line. How do you know when you're dealing with some bad meat? When you first open up the meat, you might end up getting a whiff of something that smells like it's spoiling. Okay, maybe a smell like sulfur or something like that. And a lot of times that is some bacteria that's kind of going to town on this thing, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. It just means that this right here has been sealed and there's just nowhere for that gas to escape. You give it a minute or so, you give it a smell, if it's gone away, you're good to go. Discoloration doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad either, because a lot of times that just has to deal with, was this bruised, you know, during the processing, how much oxygen it's been exposed to, things like that. Usually you can tell when meat's gone bad because it'll end up kind of creating a slimy feel. The outside of it will be kind of slimy. It might be sticky. That's another thing. The film might be kind of sticky, and it'll also end up generally having a bad smell. You know, it's almost a no-brainer. When meat goes bad, it's pretty much a no-brainer. If you're not sure if it's bad or not, chances are it probably isn't. When cooking pork, the secret number is 160 degrees. 160 degrees, okay? Internal temperature, maybe 145. Okay, 160 degrees is considered safe. Is it considered overcooked? For some meats, yeah. Okay, when it comes to poultry, when it comes to chicken, it's an increase of 5 degrees. So it's 165 degrees, all right, for chicken. Beef 160, pork 160. But once again, that is what's considered food safe. In other words, you don't have to worry about any pathogens being inside there to get you sick. It doesn't necessarily mean that you can't eat the meat at a lower temperature, and it doesn't mean that it won't be safe at a lower temperature. It's just we want to make sure beyond a shadow of a doubt that all pathogens are dead. That's what that temperature means, okay? This one drives me crazy. This one drives me crazy. Oh my God, you didn't even clean that out. You didn't even wash it. You didn't do this. Before I get into that, let's go ahead and continue about what we're talking about here. 160 degrees with this. Once again, what do we know about the sell by date and all this other stuff? It means nothing. It means nothing. It has to do with the weight of the product. It loses fluids after you end up slaughtering it. Just starts draining. Everything that dies basically leaks, right? And then so that has to do with the tear weight. It doesn't have to do with the freshness of it. Same thing. If your chicken is sticky, okay? If it is slimy, if it has a bad smell to it, those are signs that it's probably bad. Most of the pathogens that are going to get you sick, you are not going to be able to smell, and you are not going to be able to see. The ones that you can smell are the ones that are there present for the spoilage, okay? And then those generally are safe. You don't have to worry about those, the spoilage bacteria. But the other pathogens like Salmonella and E. coli and things like that, you're not going to end up being able to see them, and you're not going to be able to smell them. If they feel sticky, if they feel slimy, if it's got a smell that smells like it's decaying flesh, just get rid of it, okay? But like I said before, as soon as you open this up, there's going to be some gases that are going to be released, and you can't go by that. You have to wait for a minute or so and then give it a smell. If it's still there, then you're like, I don't know. But even with that smell, if you cook it to 165 degrees, it's still edible. It's just not going to taste very good. Okay, and then the texture of it is probably not going to be very good, right? But if you cook it to 165 degrees, you can eat it. So now let's talk a little bit about washing this. Do not, I repeat, do not wash your meat. And when I say that, I'm talking about the stuff that's in the package here. If you're a guy, ignore the other reference to that. But what I'm saying is this: do not wash the chicken, do not wash the pork, do not wash the beef. First of all, you do not have to do that. It is completely unnecessary. When they slaughter animals at the factory, okay, they have inspectors there from the USDA. They have inspectors there. They make sure that the animals are incredibly clean. They're looking for diseases. They're looking for all sorts of stuff on these things. The last thing they want to do is have one of their clients get sick so they can be sued. That's the last thing that they want. Okay? So what they're doing is they're making sure that everything is clean, that there's no diseases. Then they even go through and they do random tests. Say, is there anything here? Is there salmonella here? Is there any, listeria here? Anything like that. They're constantly testing. They also, after they're done washing, what they also will end up doing a lot of times, especially on chicken, because chicken is a fairly dirty bird, they'll end up spraying a rinse on it that actually is antimicrobial. Okay, so it's going to end up actually making it where it's going to even be harder for bacteria to grow on this. By the time everything is said and done, this has been examined, this has been rinsed, this has been cleaned, and it is going to be as clean as it's going to end up getting. It doesn't mean that there's not bacteria on it. It just means that this has been cleaned, it's been inspected. You don't have to worry about it. If you cook them to 165 degrees, you have nothing to worry about. You do not need to clean them. You do not need to rinse them. If by some chance you get on YouTube and you see somebody says, oh, you have to clean your chicken, you have to clean your pork. What you're going to do, if this has got any type of pathogen on it, okay? If it has salmonella or anything, E. coli, whatever, you get this and you wash it, you know what you're going to do? Everything that was on here is going to go all over your sink. It's going to go all over your sink. And guess what? It's going to start multiplying. And now your sink is completely and utterly contaminated. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to rinse everything and you're going to come back and it's still on the damn bird. All you've done was just take what was here and now you've just spread it all over your kitchen. Heat kills germs, guys. Heat kills germs. So when you put this inside a pot and you start boiling it, guess what's going to happen? You're going to kill the pathogens. Okay? You don't have to rinse it. Rinsing it does not kill pathogens. Rinsing does absolutely nothing except spread whatever is here all over your sink. And the same thing holds true to things like pork. If you rinse this, if there's anything on here, it's going all over your sink. It's pointless busy work that really is just making your kitchen even less safer place. Do not rinse this. You do not need to rinse it. Listen, if you drop it on the floor and there's like crumbs and stuff, go ahead and rinse it. Whatever, you dropped it on the floor. But if you're taking it out of here, don't worry about it. Now, just to show you, the people that are talking about, oh, you need to rinse that, you need to you gotta watch it. And I'm gonna prove to them and you that they're morons. They're absolute morons. You know why they're morons? They don't even believe their own crap. Okay, well, let me ask you this. All of those people that out there that think that you have to rinse things and you have to wash it before you use it, I want you to explain this to me. Do you rinse that before you make hamburgers? Do you? Do you rinse this before you make hamburgers? Do you rinse your bacon off? Do you rinse your sausage off? Any ground pork or any ground chicken or ground turkey, do you rinse that? Do you wash it before you use it? No, because, and you're full of it. This right here is more dangerous than this or the pork. Why? Because the thing about it is this: the outside is where you're going to end up finding most of your pathogens, especially like on beef and pork and chicken. But chicken, it can actually get really deep inside there. That's why you have to cook it to a little bit higher of a temperature, and you got to make sure that it gets cooked all the way through with chicken. With pork, not so much. With beef, not so much. You cook the outside of it, and as long as the outside is cooked, technically the inside is probably going to be germ-free. You don't really have to get it that heavily cooked. This is why you can get away with having rare steaks. Okay, that's why you can get away with having rare steaks. But you cannot get away with having rare hamburger. And the reason why is because anything that was on the outside here, when they grind it up, it's all throughout the entire ground product. So you have no choice but to cook it all the way through. There's ways that you can get around that, but typically you're going to end up having to grind the hamburger yourself. By the way, you see how it says 80% lean? You know how there's a difference and it says ground beef? There's a difference between hamburger meat and ground beef. Hamburger meat they can add fat to, but you can never have any more than 30% fat. That's one of the rules. Ground beef, you can't add the fat to it. Hamburger meat, as well as ground beef, they can add flavorings to it. Okay, they might not tell you, but sometimes they'll add certain flavorings to these things. Do you need to rinse the meat? Absolutely not. It's a stupid thing. Don't do it. What is the magic number for cooking all meat? 160 degrees, and then for chicken, 165. Okay, 160 is also true for any type of organ meat, you know, or anything that's a little off, like a little strange. 160 is usually fine. Internal temperature, generally 145. There's usually a little bit of carryover heat too. Okay, when it comes to ground products, whether it's chicken, beef, or whatever, cook it all the way through. All the way through, it's got to be that temperature. The USDA even says you do not need to wash your meat products. And with the chicken, it's ridiculous on how clean these plants are. Every single day, they go in and they clean and they sanitize and they do everything. They go through and they do tests. They're looking for everything, anything and everything that could possibly contaminate the meat next time around. And then afterwards, they can go ahead and do it again. Then later on that day, they'll do it again. They'll clean everything, sanitize it, you name it. It's a very, very clean environment. They do everything they can to try to make sure that there are no foodborne illnesses, no pathogens on the meat by the time that it gets to the store, okay? Now, what happens at the store, that's something that's completely different. But let's go ahead and talk about that. Let's say that you go to the store and you end up seeing some meat that's a little old, and when I say it's a little old, it just says sell by this date, okay? A lot of times what's going to happen is the butchers there are going to end up taking it out and they're going to grind it up with some other old meat, and they're going to end up making chorizo, or they're going to end up making a taco ground beef for you that's already ready, or an adobo, or something along these lines, or maybe some type of turmeric or curry meat, and you're going to see it. Okay, maybe even some type of sausage. And what they're doing is they're just getting rid of the old meat. And they add a bunch of seasoning into it. And then they sit there and say, here, let's go ahead and sell this. Okay, now is there anything really wrong with it? Not really. But at the same time, anytime that you see that they have doctored some kind of meat and it's ready for the barbecue, or it's ready to cook, or it's got super, you know, it's got the barbecue sauce on it, it's got all the seasoning, that's the stuff you should be leery of. That's the stuff you should be leery of. You know, a lot of times when they end up making things like chorizo, when you can find it like this, and it's the store chorizo, a lot of times what they're using is they're using the old, outdated meat, and a lot of times they'll even use things like outdated bologna, outdated hot dogs, outdated any meat product there is, okay? And then they'll just grind it all up and they'll make a sausage out of it. It's not going to hurt you. Once again, you cook it to that 165, you're good to go. They're not going to throw anything in there that's spoiled. But anything that you can't sell, they got to try to save money, and that's generally what they're going to do at a grocery store butcher market. When it comes to cross-contamination, this is what you need to do, because it's, once again, there's a lot of unnecessary busy work. If I'm sitting here and I'm using this cutting board, which by the way, wood cutting board is better than plastic because plastic can hold onto the bacteria a lot better than the wood can. It's much easier to sanitize a piece of wood than a piece of plastic, believe it or not, okay? Glass is fantastic, but it dulls the hell out of your knives. If I'm sitting here and I'm cutting up a piece of pork on this cutting board here, my Maryland cutting board, okay? If I'm cutting up a piece of pork here or whatever, anything that's on the pork is now here. It's also on the knife, right? But it's here. I need to make sure that I wash this, okay? I'll wash it. Sometimes I'll end up using a little bit of vinegar every now and then on my cutting board to kind of sanitize it. I also will sometimes pour vodka on it and just let the vodka sit there to denature anything that's possibly there. But another thing that you can do is 1 tablespoon of bleach with about 1 gallon of water. Just give it a spray, and anything that's on here, it'll kill it. It'll kill it, you know. But if I don't do that, and I'm cutting up some pork here, and I scoop it up, and then I throw it over there in the pot, and I cook it up, yeah, that's going to end up killing the germs that's on the pork over there, but the germs are still here, right? So if I take something that I'm not planning on cooking, and that's very important, something I am not planning on cooking. If I'm cutting up an onion here, I don't have to worry about it because the onion's getting cooked. Okay, if I'm over here and I'm going to be mixing broccoli with it because I'm doing a pork and broccoli and I'm cutting up the broccoli, I don't have to worry about it because this is getting cooked. Okay, but if I'm making a salad and I'm sitting here and I start cutting up lettuce, that is a big no-no because the salad is not being cooked. Okay, so the only time that you really need to clean your cutting board during the time that you're cooking is when it switches over from cooked product to raw product. That's when you need to do it. But there's no reason to sit here, cut up pork and chicken, and then go ahead and rinse off the board and clean your hands and everything, come back over here, then cut up an onion, and then throw that in the pot, and then rinse it and go back over. And that is pointless busy work. Don't do that. You don't need to. That's stupid. The only time that you need to wash is when you are switching from cooked product to raw product. And a lot of times it's better to do all of your raw product first. Get that knocked out of the way. Get that taken care of. After all the raw product is done, then you cut the products that might end up having some type of foodborne pathogen on it. And then afterwards, you just clean it one time, you're done. You're good. You know, if you're worried that it might have salmonella or something, put a little bit of vinegar, put a little bit of the bleach water, put a little bit of the vodka on there. That'll kill it. You have nothing to worry about. Because it's absolutely ridiculous when I do a video and then I see some moron sit there and go, oh, you didn't even wash the meat. You don't know what you're talking about. You have no idea what you're talking about. It's almost like a form of virtue signaling. Like, oh, I'm so great in the kitchen. Look at my comment. Look how smart I am. This guy's going to get people sick. But, you know, I'm here to protect you. I'm super awesome. No, you're an idiot. You're an idiot and you need to keep your mouth shut. I'm just tired of the peanut gallery showing up and putting out their 2 cents when quite honestly they need to save that 2 cents up for an education. You don't go around trying to correct Dr. Chill. You're going to lose every single time. Anyway guys, with that being said, I want to wish everybody a happy Tuesday. I believe today's Tuesday. And I also want to tell you that I am going to be changing the name of the channel very soon. Okay, so if you see that all of a sudden it's no longer called How to Be Awesome Sauce and it looks like you subscribe to a channel that you're unfamiliar with, don't worry about it. It's still me. It's just I changed the name of the channel because I think it's time to get rid of How to Be Awesome Sauce. And since this is primarily a cooking channel now, I think that I'm probably going to end up changing it to something that, well, reflects that, right? Maybe I'm going to turn it into don'twashyourpork.com. Maybe that's what I'll do. Anyway, guys, so keep an eye out for the new name change. I want to thank everybody for subscribing, and thanks for letting me vent on this. Hopefully you learned something. And the next time someone says, oh, you're supposed to watch this, watch that, you can always show them this video and then tell them to pound sand. All right, guys, till next time, I'll talk at you later.